Okay, it looks like we're live. Okay, well, good morning, RUSD. My name is Sean Brown, and I am the Instructional Technology Supervisor here for the school district. And today I'm going to show you how to use the G Suite software applications, or Google software applications, otherwise known as G Suite. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay. Like I said before, my name is Sean Brown, and I am the Instructional Technology Supervisor. You can reach me at sbrown@rusdlearns.net, or you can give me a call at extension 81037. I'll be glad to help you out with any questions that you have in regards to anything G Suite. So don't hesitate to give me a call, and I'll just be glad to lend a hand. This may not apply for right now, but if you are working outside of your normal contract hours, please sign in at the end of the webinar to verify your time spent. Also, if you want to get if you need to get credit for your attendance in this webinar, also fill it out, even if it is within your normal contract hours. Before we begin, I'd like to discuss a couple of things. We have supplemental resources here for you to help you learn how to use G Suite. The first thing is the RUSD Knowledge Base. The RUSD Knowledge Base has questions answered for all of our most common topics. And we'll also go over the RUSD training menu in just a little bit, and that's going to be a self-help resource in any of the core G Suite applications. And if you'd like to follow along in this presentation, you can go ahead and copy that link, or copy that link down at the bottom and paste it, or put it into a browser. bit.ly/CGSO 2019, all lowercase. That will allow you to follow along in this presentation if you so choose to, or you can just watch the video. Okay, so we're going to be exploring the basics of G Suite today. We're going to definitely go over a fair amount of Google Drive. We will also be going over Google Docs. And if time permits, we will also explore Sheets and Slides. And those are the four things that we will be covering. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is Google Drive, and it is your home for all things Google. So what is Google Drive? Google Drive is a place to store your files similarly to folders on a Windows desktop or Mac desktop. These files are accessible from anywhere. So as long as you have an internet connection and a device, you can access your files in Google Drive, whether it be your cell phone, another laptop, another computer at home. It doesn't matter. As long as you sign in with your RUSD Learns account, you'll be able to access your Google Drive from anywhere. Google Drive automatically saves any of the progress that you make in any of the documents that you are working on within Google Drive. So let's say I'm working on a Word document, or in this case, a Google Doc. As you're working along, it will save in the background for you. Google Drive also provides a place for collaboration and sharing. So that means that if you're working on a document and you would like for a colleague to also work in that same document, you can invite them to edit that same document along with you in real time, or at the same time. Okay, whoops, went too far ahead. All right, we're going to switch on over to Google Drive here. Okay, I'm on a fresh Google account that has not ever really been used before. All I have is a shared document here with me. But before we begin, I just want to make sure that everyone knows how to sign in. So I'm just going to sign out here. And I'm going to go to Google. Okay, so if I'm from at the Google search page and I have not signed in, I can just click sign in on the top right. And let's go ahead and remove this account so we can actually start over from scratch. So what may happen is you would you come to a page that looks like this, and your login would be your first initial and your last name, similar to your district email account, the district email prefix, I guess you would say. So for this account, I just use jdoe@rusdlearns.net. You do have to put the @rusdlearns.net at the end there. If you've never logged in before, your password will be welcome1 with a capital W. And it may ask you to change your password once you do log in with that for that very first time. Okay, now that I'm logged into Google, all I have to do is navigate to the drive. And what I can do there is click on the what we like to call the waffle iron icon. So just click on that. And you're going to see all of the programs that Google has to offer. But the one we're interested in is right here. It's Google Drive. It'll take us right to it. So that's how we log in. Well, you may be asking yourself, well, that's great, Sean, but now that I have a Google Drive, what do I do with this Google Drive? How do I work with it? Well, one of the easiest ways to begin is to upload the files that you already have into Google Drive. That will give you a starting point. So I'm going to show you how to add files. There's several ways. I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way that I think is the most intuitive. So what I like to do is I like to minimize this window, and I can take a file from my desktop. And right here I have a sample document here on my desktop, and I'm just going to drag this over. And it didn't work because I am missing something here. Interesting. Okay, there it goes. It has a little pop-up down there at the bottom. That must be new. Drop files instantly to upload them to. There we go. All right, and what that did is that uploaded that document here to my Google Drive. That's pretty simple. And if I double click on this file, it's going to show me the contents of that file. I just put some placeholder text in here. It doesn't really say anything if you look closely at the wording. But this is a copy of a Word file, and it's represented that way with the W, with the icon right here. But let's say we want to edit this file. I can just double click on it to preview it, and then I can click this button up at the very top that says Open with Google Docs. What it's going to do is it's going to take a minute to convert the file, but then it opens that document in a word processor, and this word processor is Google Docs. We will revisit that or Google Docs in just a little bit, but for now we're going to stick to Google Drive. So we've just basically converted our document from our desktop to a Google Doc by adding it to Google Drive. Okay. So one of the things we already went over is accessing your files from anywhere. So we know that you can download the Google Drive app for any smartphone. You can always go to drive.google.com to access your Google Drive. All you have to do is just log in, and you'll have access to your files. As we start building some files here in Google Drive, one of the things that you can do is preview your files. All you have to do to preview a file is to double click on it, and we already did that. But you don't have to actually open the file. You can just take a quick look at it, see if that's what you want, and you have some options here. You can print. We don't have printing by preview available yet. I don't know why that is, Sylvia. We can also download the file by clicking the download right here, and we can also add comments to to the file, but we'll be getting into commenting when we explore Google Docs.
Well, because it's in a Word format.
I think it might be. Yeah, we feel that it might be that you cannot print the document because it's a Microsoft Word file, and you would have to open it in Google Docs and convert it to be able to print that document from Google Drive.
There's a question here
Uh-huh.
from Mr. McGuire. Thank you for this information. Does the file automatically convert to a Google Doc?
It does not. It does not automatically convert. So I can start that over again. I'm going to go ahead and remove the Google Doc we created. And this is the sample document that we uploaded that's in Word format. And we can tell that it's in a Word format with the little W down in the bottom right side here, or bottom left side of the document. And to convert it, all we need to do is double click on it to preview it, and then click Open with Google Docs. And when we open that file with Google Docs, it's going to automatically convert it for you. It's actually going to create a duplicate of that file. So right here we already see the name of the file. It's the sample document.rtf file, and this is in the Google Doc format. This is definitely a Google Doc. So I'm going to close this tab out, and I'm going to go back on this preview, and we'll see that we have the converted document right next to it. So let me know if that answers your question, and we can explore that deeper if we need to. Okay, so the next thing, opening your files. We've kind of already been doing that. Opening your files is pretty simple. We just double click on the file, and it opens up the file in the appropriate application. As an example, if I were to double click on my presentation here, you just double click on it. Very easy to do. We can also right click and click preview, or if we wanted to, we can go to open with down here after right clicking and getting this context menu. That's kind of the long way around, and I don't think that's very quick or efficient, but if you are a person who likes to right click everything, that might be the way you want to go. It also does have some options there for you that we'll explore. Okay. The next thing that we'll check out is restoring earlier versions. I'm going to take this sample document that we have and make some edits to it, and go through a hypothetical scenario where we need to go back in time to change or go back in time to how the document once was before the changes. So let me go in here. I'm going to erase everything except for maybe the first sentence of this Greek-Latin gobbledygook. Okay, and if you notice right here, it says all changes saved in Drive. It's automatically saving for you. Okay, we'll close that out. Also close this out. Okay, we're going to go to our document. Now, if we double click on this document again and open it back up, we're going to see that it does remember that I wiped out pretty much all the contents of this document. Well, let's say that that was a mistake, and someone that you shared with, or you accidentally deleted everything, and you need to go back in time to get the previous version of that document. It's really simple. From Google Drive, we can do it this way. We can right click on the file, and let's see here. Do you know where the version history went?
I think you have to be in the file.
Not from Drive. Let's just make sure. Okay. Well, it looks like some Google likes to make changes in the background without telling you, so we'll just dive into the Word file to show you how to change that version history. So we'll go back over to our Word document. We can come over here to File and Version History. So once we click on version history, we can click on see version history, and okay, here we are. It shows the last change that was made. So at 10:14 a.m. It says John Doe. That would be me. I'm logged in as John Doe. John Doe came in and made some changes to this document, and it shows you highlighted in green. That's also stricken through. Um, exactly what Mr. John Doe had deleted. So if we wanted to restore that file or to this version, all we have to do is click this right here and click on make a copy, and it's going to say, hey, what do you want to save it as? Well, we're going to save it as a copy of the sample document, and click OK. And when we do that, oh, things really aren't going my way. Let's do that one more time. Here's the version of the document. I clicked the wrong one. So we'll just click that context menu here and click on make a copy. And then we'll just click OK. And it will restore the older version of that file. So not only does Google Docs or Google Drive save your content automatically, it also keeps that history. So you can go back in time to restore the document to a previous version if there's ever catastrophic mistakes to the document. And that works on all of the Google Drive or G Suite applications. Oops. Okay, now that I've created some extra files here, things are getting a little messy. So we're going to do a little house cleaning and kind of get things organized. And one of the things that we can do is we can delete files, which is pretty simple. We do know we do know a couple things. That we created the copy sample document the first time, and it was the wrong one, and we like to delete that. So we can just go ahead and right-click on it and click on Remove, and it will remove that file. And I'm also going to delete this one. This original sample document that we inadvertently edited, I guess you would say. We'll go ahead and delete this as well. We can actually click and hold down on that document and drag it over to the trash, just like you would on a Windows or Mac desktop. And it will put it in the trash. And then also we have our copy sample document, but this is no longer the copy, it's really the original. So I'd like to rename it back to its original name. So I can right click on that and click on rename. And let's just edit this field of text here. Make it say sample document RTF and click OK. Alright, so we're good to go there. Now, if you ever needed to bring something back from the trash, you can do that very easily. You just click on the trash icon on the left, and you can right-click on the file and click on Restore. So let me go ahead and right-click on this. Let's do the copy of the sample document, just restore that. And we can go back to our drive by clicking My Drive up at the top of this list. And we can see the copy of the sample document is back where it belongs. Very similar to undeleting or removing items from trash on Windows or Mac.
Question.
Sure.
From Mr. McGuire. Is there any way to restore a version without making a copy?
No, there is not. It's always going to make a copy, and it will preserve the original document. So that might seem a little inconvenient, but what I think it is that Google Drive is trying to create, or at least help you maintain, a record of changes. But that's the best answer I have for that one. Okay. We're going to take it a step further and organize a little bit more. And you can also create folders in Google Drive just like you would a desktop. So I would like to just create my very first folder, and I'm just going to call it Documents. So there's a couple ways to do that. Number one, you can click the new icon right here and then click on Folder. It'll ask you, hey, what do you want to name this folder? And I'm just going to call it Documents. It'll take a moment, but here we are. We have a folder named Documents right here. And you can also create folders by right-clicking anywhere on a blank space in Google Drive and click New Folder as well. And that might be a little bit more convenient for you. In this case, I'm going to call this one Reports. And I like right-clicking and creating my folders, so I'm also going to create another one called Presentations. Okay, so I have Documents, Presentations, and Reports all created. I'm going to very quickly create a few files and and show you some methods for organizing quickly. First, I'm going to right-click and create a new Google slide. And it'll open up a new window and ask me what I would like to, it's just a fresh Google slide here. I'm just going to rename it really quickly, and I'm just going to call it my first presentation. And once I do that, it automatically saves it. I can close this window, and it's right here in my Google Drive, right where I asked for it to be created. But let's say I wanted my first presentation to go in my Presentations folder. I can just click and drag that to the Presentations folder and drop it in there, and it will move it automatically. I'm going to do the same for Reports, and I'm going to do a Google Sheet for that one. Okay, that's been created and saved, and here we are. We got my first report, and I'm going to put that in Reports. And I'm going to take my two documents. You can also click and drag on a blank space and highlight multiple documents at one time. And then click and drag one of them. It will grab both of them because both of them were highlighted. I can just drop those into Documents. Okay, so now I've got a little bit cleaner Google Drive. I've got things categorized by folders, but everyone knows that after you start accumulating a lot of files and a lot of folders, things can kind of get lost in the mix, and you may want to keep track of those special documents that you access frequently. And we're going to use the star feature in Google Drive to help us keep track, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's say in Documents, my sample document here is what I always refer to. I can right click on it and I can click Add to Starred. And I go back to my Google Drive here, and I want to click on Reports, and I always access this report, so I'm also going to right click and add that to Starred. Now, when I go to my Google Drive and I click the Starred option right here on the left, it will show me those documents that I access the most. Personally, I use this daily. It's very helpful because if you forget the name of the file that you're looking for, you might not be able to find it very easily. Which brings me to the next part. The next thing is searching for files. Up at the top, Google being a company that specializes in search, we can search our entire drive for any of the documents that we have. So if I come over here to Search Drive and I type in, let's say I type in report. It automatically knows. It's right there. Right when I type in report, it's showing first report. Or if I were to go to the search here and type in first, oops. We can also see right here that first presentation and first report show up. So that is a quick and easy way to search. Also, let's say for instance that you're only looking for Excel files. You can click this Advanced Search drop-down menu. And what I like to do is always change type right here. And if I click that drop-down, I can say, hey, I'm only looking for spreadsheets. Now when I search, it's only going to return the first report file instead of the first report and first presentation. So I hope that makes sense, but you can just basically further, you can get pretty granular with your searches by using the search options drop down. You can also search by owner. You can also choose folders. So we can go to My Drive and select. And you can also say, hey, search in the trash and search my starred items. And when we click search, it will produce the result. Okay, let's go back to My Drive. And let's see what else do we have here. All right, well, I guess we're going to get into some of the fun stuff here. We're going to get into sharing and sharing documents between other users. So this is where the benefit of using Google Drive really comes in handy. So we'll start with our documents folder here, and we're going to edit this sample document that we created a little while ago. First off, what I'm going to do is sample document. I'm not really too happy with the name of that, so I'm just going to call this the, oops. Forgive me here, I'm typing on a different laptop that I don't normally use. I'm just going to call this the collab doc, short for collaboration document. And I have my colleague over here, Sylvia, who I need to have, I need some assistance in editing this document. So we're going to quickly go over that. There's a couple ways to share a document, but the easiest way is to just click share up in the top right here. And I can search for Sylvia by email address or by name. I know Sylvia's email address, so I'm just going to type in sdiego. Oh, that's right. You know what? Sylvia is using a special account for this webinar, and it's actually different. But let's just say I'm going to share it with Sylvia, and she would get an email notification. The account that Sylvia is using today is a little different. Okay, the first thing that we'll notice is once we get our email addresses in there, it's going to give us an option to edit or what level of access do we want to give them. When we click this drop down, we can give these people access to edit. They can comment, or they can view. So when you select edit, that means that that person that you're inviting can also comment and view. And then anyone that you give can comment access to can comment on the document, which we'll show you once we get to the docs side of things, and can also view. And the people who only have view access can do just that. They can look at the document and not make any changes. I'm pretty good here. I'm going to send them a little message along with this invitation. I'm just going to say, help me. How about help me edit this doc? I'm going to go ahead and click send. Now it's hard for us to show you, but Sylvia has two options. She just got an email invitation, and she can click the link inside that email that will open up the Google Doc, the Collab doc automatically. Or if she's already in Google Drive, she would see a document in her shared with me section right over here. And we can already see that I have some documents shared with the John Doe account. I have the presentation that I'm showing you guys shared here. So the collab doc would automatically show up on Sylvia's Google Drive. I hope that makes sense. But then we can go ahead and demonstrate Sylvia editing the document. So what we see right here is we have two cursors now. We have like a violet cursor, and that is actually Sylvia moving around in the document making edits. And let's say she's up in the top of that paragraph making edits, and I'm over here making edits over here. We can work on the document together and make changes as we see fit. So we'll come back to sharing, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you can also share directly from Google Drive as well as inside the document. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Okay, great. All right, cool. Okay, let's go back to my drive. Okay, looks like we've spent about a half an hour on Google Drive. So we're going to now spend most of our time in Google Docs. What's nice about Google Docs is that it really does kind of explain how all of the other software solutions in G Suite work as well. So you can take the knowledge that you've learned from Google Docs and apply it to Google Slides or Google Sheets. So we'll go ahead and dive into there. Okay. So, but before we begin, let's talk about Google Docs very quickly. What is Google Docs? Well, it's a word processing software. It's supposed to be the equivalent of Microsoft Word in the Office suite of applications. It does look a little bit different. For those of you who remember, back when Office 2013 came out, they decided to go with the ribbon toolbar up at the top, or what they call the ribbon style toolbar, and a lot of people didn't like that. They liked the old Office 2003 look, and it was a big transition for a lot of people. Well, if you were not a fan of the Microsoft Office ribbon, you'll be pleased to know that that Google Docs actually looks a lot like Microsoft Word 2003. So again, with Google Docs, it is accessible from anywhere, meaning that if you have a phone or another device, all you have to do is log into your Google Drive, and you have access to your to your Google Docs. And again, it automatically saves anything that you work on. And as you know, you also have a history that you can reference. So you also have like built-in backups with that as well. It provides a place for collaboration and sharing, which we kind of just did a little bit of. But yes, it has all of the same features and benefits as Google Drive. Oh, went too far again. Okay. So from Google Drive, we have a couple of ways to create a document, which you guys probably already know. You can click on the new icon right here and click on Google Docs. When you do that, it will automatically open up a new window and create the document for you. I also have kind of like a more arrow here. This would be something more advanced, but you can also create a file or a doc from a template, or the obvious choice is a blank document, which ironically is just the same as clicking the Google Docs icon right here. Alternatively, you can right-click on any blank space in the Google Drive in the main window and click on Google Doc and get the same options. And that's the way I like to operate, so I'll do that. Okay, I'm going to name this document something a little different. well, let's see here. I'll just call it webinar. So I have my doc name webinar. All I had to do to change the file name of that was click right here in this box and rename it. There's nothing more that you need to do. You don't need to click save. Actually, in Google Docs, there isn't a save button. It just automatically saves everything as you move along, which is kind of nice. So you never, if the power goes out, you'll be just fine. You can go back to your Google Doc and be right where you left off. Let's see here. So the first thing we'll do is we're gonna import a document. I know that may seem kind of advanced, but if you are going to make a transition from using Microsoft Office to using Google Docs, it's really good information to know. So you can start migrating or moving things over. I can click on File right here, and then I can click on Import, I believe. Interesting. It looks like the import option is gone. Okay, it looks like you can no longer import files, and you would just have to add them to your Google Drive and then open them with Google Docs, like we had showed you before. There used to be an option here to let you import your Microsoft Office or Word files from here, but we'll have to go with the previous way that we showed you, which is how Google operates sometimes. They will make changes, and they'll surprise you along the way. So let's just go ahead and continue. I'll describe what we're looking at here. The top menu here in Google Docs is called the kitchen sink. The kitchen sink just means exactly that. It has everything on there, and most importantly, it has all of the document editing tools that we're most familiar with, that work just like Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word does. So, let's go ahead and just add some text there. What would you like to add a picture of?
Moose.
This is a picture of a moose. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to add some text here. I guess we just chose a moose. So one of the things I'd like to do is just insert an image, and I can do that by clicking on Insert up here at the top, and then Image. I have some options here. I can upload pictures directly from my desktop. I can search the web. I can search Drive. I can also search photos. If I have a link to a picture that I know of, I can also just paste that link in. Or I can take a picture from the web camera. What we'll do here is we'll do something that I like to do, and that's just search from the web. So it's going to bring a search bar on the right. I'm going to click in here. I'm going to just type in moose, see what happens. Okay. I found a picture of a moose that I'm happy with. I like this one, and I'm going to go ahead and insert that. It's going to take a second, but it added a picture of a moose. It actually added 2 pictures for some reason, but I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. To delete an image, you can just click on it and click the delete, or hit the delete button, and it will go away. Now I think that this picture is too big, so I can click on this image, and I can resize it by grabbing the edge of the image here at one of these focus points. We have them on the sides, we have them on the corners, and they're just all over the place. If I would like to change the width and height of an image, I can click down here in the corner, hold on to that, and change it. Now, this this picture right here, I like how it's left justified, but let's go ahead and say I wanted to make it right, or centered. I can click that image and click centered here, and it will center the image. And I can also highlight this text right here, and I can center that as well. So another thing is we have some of the other common some of the other common features that help you edit your documents, and that is making words bold, italicized, or underlined. So I guess we can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and underline that. Just highlight that text and click underline. And I really want it to stand out, so I'm going to make it bold. And then lastly, I think this needs to be really big here. So there we go. This almost looks like an internet meme. Thank you, Sylvia. It worked out fantastically. So let's see what other things that we can go through for editing editing text. Okay. One thing that I'd like to do is go over how to create page columns. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by inserting a table. So what a table is basically it's like adding cells into your document. I can just click on Insert right up here and click on Table. And it gives us a little grid that we can add. We can choose to add basically almost however many cells that we'd like to add to this document. That was definitely the wrong amount to create just 2 columns, so I'm going to hit Control Z. Control Z, for those of you who don't know, is the undo button. So if you ever make a mistake, just hit Control Z and it removes the last action that you did. And that little trick works in almost every word processing or presentation or spreadsheet software that's out there. Let's go ahead and try that again. Insert. And we're going to add a table, and we just have 2 columns here. But I'm going to get a little fancy. I'm going to do 4, and I'll show you why. So we have our we basically have 2 columns here. So what we can do is put a header at the top, and we can call this I don't know. We'll just be really generic here. We'll just call this column 1. And then we'll also call this column 2. This right here gives us headers for our columns, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and center both of those. If you notice, I highlighted both of these here. Whenever I highlight more than one thing and then select an action from the toolbar, it's going to do it to both of the items, or however many items you have highlighted. So I'm going to click the center button here, or I believe they call it Align, Center Align. And look at that, it's centered each of those headers, and it centered them inside their own box. So these are actually independent of the document or the rest of the document. And let's say we have I don't know what we're going to put for our column text here, but I'll just put, this is an amazing column. And in this column over here, we're going to put this is a not so amazing column. So now we have, let's say in theory, we have 2 columns with 2 column headers, and I really would like for those column headers to stand out a little bit more. I can again just highlight both of them, and I'm going to click the bold button here. It'll make the text bold for both. You can also change the size of the font. Right over here where it says Arial and then 11, what you're basically saying is hey, I would like for my font to look like look like one of these. So we will select Pacifico. That looks nice. And it will change the only the selected item to Pacifico. And I can change the size of that, and I think I'll go with 18. All right, there we go. Now, another thing here is like, okay, now I've got these 2 columns, but I don't like that the lines are there. that doesn't look very nice, but you can actually remove the lines that make up the table. And you can do that by right-clicking on one of the lines, and then we can go to Table Properties once you right-click on it. Right-clicking on Table Properties will bring up your table borders, and all you have to do is change this from 1 point to 0 point, which means basically 1 point means like 1 pixel. So I'm going to change that to 0, so it's 0 pixels. And there it is. Now the columns didn't disappear; they are still there and functioning. You just can't see them. If you notice, the words in the sentence that I'm writing are wrapping or coming back around to that column. So we can see that. Okay, so I hope that helps out in your Word, or I'm sorry, your Google Docs editing. Another thing that I'd like to do is show you how to add a link. Sometimes you may need to add links to your documents, and there's a couple of ways to do that. The first one that comes to mind is just clicking on a link in your browser, right-clicking on it, and selecting Copy, and then right-clicking into the document you're editing and pasting it in there. And after I paste that link in there, if I hit Enter, it's going to turn blue. And when it turns blue, that means that someone in that who's editing that document can click on it, and it will take them to that link. Sometimes that doesn't really look nice in a document. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of an example. We're going to say, okay, we're going to get out of the column here. Even though it's invisible, we know that we're at the very bottom by where the cursor is, and we're going to click the Center Align button. I'm going to put for more information, about editing columns, comma, click here. Okay, so we know that we want this to be the link right here, and we can do that. So what we do is, let's go find something relevant. Let's find out how to edit columns in Google Docs. I'm going to open up a new window. I'm just going to search it. How to edit columns in Google Docs. The first link that we get should be good enough. Add or delete columns in a document. And here's our link right here. So we're going to right-click on that link, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to go all the way back to our Google Doc, and we're going to highlight the "click here" text, and we can do two things. One, we can click the insert link button right here, or we can right-click and also select link right here as well. Either way is perfectly fine. Like I said before, I'm a right-click kind of person, so I'll just go ahead and click here. Now it's going to say, hey, paste in a link here. So okay, I'll go ahead and paste that link I copied and hit apply. And there we are. It just made the click here portion of the text a link. So bear that in mind as you create documents in Google Docs. You can also add links inside your content. Let's see here. Another thing that we can go over is share. Let's go. We've already shared documents. I think that we're okay there. There's only going to be one more thing that I'd like to explore, and that is comments and replies. So in this case, we already know that, well, we actually haven't shared this with Sylvia. Let's go ahead and share this again. And so I'm going to click share in the top right. I'm going to type in ILESDS, because that's the account she's using today. And I'm just going to click send. I don't need to send her a note with this one. It's perfectly fine. And I don't even want them to get an email notification. So I'll just uncheck that notify people box and click OK. And it says, do you want to skip sending invitations? Well, yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. Sylvia is right here next to me, and I can say, hey, Sylvia, the document's going to be shared with you. Look in your shared with me document, or shared with me section in Google Drive, and it will automatically pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if you start sending invitations or email notifications with every document that you share, sometimes those emails just go by the wayside anyways and just get sent directly to trash, because that user knows they can just click on the shared with me section in Google Drive and see everything that's been shared. So go ahead and click OK. Go ahead and click OK. And Sylvia should have gotten that document. Now, as she's getting that document, I'm going to add a comment here. I'm going to right click on this picture of the moose, and I'm going to say, I'm going to add a comment. I can either select comment right here, or again, I can select that moose, or I'm sorry, I can put my cursor next to the moose and then click the comment button here. I'm going to go ahead and right click on comment, and I'm just going to say, hey there, can you change the picture to a cow? They are more moose-like. And here we go. So now Sylvia will see that comment in there, and you know what? One thing I did notice is that because you're on that account, I couldn't assign it to you. It's something special with that account. Here we go. Sylvia already replied. Really, a cow? And I'm just going to say, yes, please. ASAP. It's important. Okay. And so Sylvia now knows to change the picture, and she can change it to a picture of a cow. And it looks like she's going to be doing that. We'll just wait a moment here. She is selecting the perfect image for our demonstration. And here it goes. She's editing that document. And okay. There we go. Now that she's made the change, I'm going to select moose right here, and I'm going to change it to cow. Now, we have a little icon right here. This is where I left that comment, and I can check up on that. And, oh, you know what? Did you resolve the comment?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sylvia already resolved the comment. So the comment went away, which means that it's resolved. And that's an easy way to collaborate long distance, I guess you would say. Let's say the person is in another building or at another campus. You can always use comments to communicate back and forth on that document to say, hey, I really need this change. Can you add this information and give that person some directives on what to change? It is a very helpful way to collaborate on your Google Docs. Okay, we are pretty much all done. There isn't much else that I have time to cover. So I appreciate everyone attending. So we're going to skip ahead very quickly to the sign-in here. If you have waited till the very end, please go to bit.ly/1819 sign-in, all lowercase. That will help you get credit for attending this webinar. Um, Please, if you have just a moment, do that. It will be to your benefit. I'll go ahead and leave this up here for a moment, and then we will close out the webinar. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide here. I hope you filled out your 1819 sign-in. And if you have any questions, you can find me at my extension 80728. Also, you can feel free to send me an email at sbrown@rusdlearns.net. And remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay.